And hello YouTube, this is GSmaniamsmart, and I'm here on a brand new video for Gaming with GS, and today we're here on Guild Wars 2. Hopefully you're enjoying the holidays. If you do recognize and celebrate Thanksgiving, I certainly did. And today I want to talk to you guys about the Reddit AMA that developers of Guild Wars 2 had. Seems like every huge release now, the developers are coming online and basically answering any question that we have. I wasn't able to participate in this AMA, but I was able to go through the thousands of comments in the thread and take a look at the developer responses and sort of pick out the best responses, inform me about the most significant responses that we got, and some of the ones that allude to future content possibly. So I've sort of broken this down into three categories. We have general, we have raids, and we have fractals and dungeons. We're going to go over all the general things first. First of all, the Mac client is being developed, continuously being developed. We've basically had development on this for quite some time now. They are going through some internal testing, and an alpha will soon be released for the public. So if you do want to try out the Mac client, look out for the alpha so you can actually test it. A Linux client will most likely not happen. It seems like people are still asking for that, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to make a Linux client because they're already making a Mac one. As for Black Lion chests, now this is a topic that everyone's been talking about for quite some time now, for the past few weeks. When they rolled out the Black Lion chest update, people were looking forward to it, and then we sort of have mixed reactions of some people liking the new change where the booster got taken out, some people not liking the new change because now they're getting a seasonal items such as a trick-or-treat bag or some fragments of an exotic weapon. So we've had some mixed reactions with this change. I personally like the new change. Some people have the argument that there really wasn't a new change. We're basically losing a slot and getting it replaced with a seasonal item, which is just exactly what we had before, and we're getting a rare chance of getting a fourth slot, which is the same thing we had before. So there's that argument. At the end of the day, the developers did come out and say that they did get a lot of feedback from new changes made to the Black Lion chest, and they're trying to get it quote-unquote revitalized. Now, some of these changes you'll see in the next few seasonal chests, so whatever they mean by revitalized changes, we'll obviously see how those come in the next few chests that we get as the months progress. Now, another general request that someone had asked was whether players could actually spectate other players upon their death. A lot of times when you die, you're just looking at your body and not really doing anything as everyone else continues playing. Wouldn't it be nice if we could actually spectate other people, as in several other shooters or several other PvP games where most of the time, whenever you die, you get to spectate another person. I see this a lot in Overwatch. We see it in a lot of the Call of Duty games. We see it pretty much in every competitive. And this wouldn't be only good for PvP. Obviously, PvP would be great because we can actually watch others, watch our teammates while we're dead. We have to wait anyway for those 10 seconds or so we can watch our teammates how they battle, but also be great for raids and fractals to see how other people perform in those environments, and if they happen to know how to do something very specifically, we can watch them and learn from it. So this is a great way to actually learn new mechanics and learn the ever-growing learning curve in this game as more content is coming out. And that was an idea someone suggested. One of the developers did say that they love the idea of this, but they didn't really mention if they're gonna pursue it or not. I'm guessing this is just gonna be something that maybe you throw in a future release, in a feature pack, and an expansion. It obviously sounds like a nice idea to them, so perhaps they will pursue it soon. Now, the auric basin multi-loot gold making trick was also addressed. If you're unfamiliar with this gold making trick, we do have a video on it. If you want to check that video out, go and click the link on screen right now. You can make tons of gold out of this. But in short, you basically hop into a squad, you do the auric basin meta event. At the end of the meta event, you can loot the chests, and you can basically switch between instances in your squad to basically loot the city full of chests multiple times depending on how many instances you have in your squad. Now, this is a great way to make gold, a great way to get ectoplasm, but it unfortunately has crashed the ectoplasm market. Now, we did hear from Michael Bryan saying that it needs to be fixed. So it is going to be quote-unquote fixed in a future update, and they are trying to make newer farms available and new farms to be a bit more fun and profitable as well. So they don't want everyone just to do the auric basin farm. They want to expand to different farms. Good news is that they will be trying to make a farm for leather. Leather is pretty expensive right now on the market, and they're trying to create a farm revolved around that so we can actually lower the price of that leather. Now, speaking of lowering the prices, mystic coins have also been looked at, but it seems like a lot of people are hoarding these mystic coins. They're mainly only used for skins anyhow, so while they are aware that mystic coins are pretty high in price, they're not going to be changing anything with them. They are slowly filtering in these mystic coins though through several events. We have seen in the recent current events they've given mystic coins away, and so they are coming into the economy, they are coming into the game through different ways, in limited ways obviously, but we are getting some form of income from mystic coins rather than just doing the dailies as we used to. Now, one user also asked about the mists and how they aren't very relevant anymore in the plot, and I can pretty much agree with this because the mists had a big impact in Guild Wars 1, but in Guild Wars 2 we really only see reference to this in PvP in the fractals. This is exactly one of the questions revolved around, and one of the developers did hint that Ritlock's class change dealt with the mists. I think this alludes to perhaps a future involvement of the mists in the story, and revolving around what he found in the mists and how he got this new power of becoming a revenant. So it seems like we will be getting some story revolving around the mists soon to come, but maybe this is just a developer making a smart comment here for fun. But hopefully we do get some involvement of the mists in the story soon, because we're all still waiting for those answers, and it'd be nice to have that story element part of the plot now. One of the things that I've always wanted to see, and a lot of people have wanted to see, is old ore to be renewed. Now, in the personal story, we do cleanse ore, and this is supposed to make ore look beautiful and completely revamped and look naturey and not so dead. One person did ask whether there will be a chance where they could make a cleansed ore map, which would be very appropriate since this is a living story. And while I completely approve of this and I would love to see this, developers did say that this is not going to be possible because it will most likely affect new players who want to experience the old content, and people who haven't done a personal story yet, they won't be able to complete that then. And pretty much we've seen this happen with Lion's Arch, how the old Lion's Arch got changed to the new Lion's Arch. Lion's Arch has gone through several changes now, and we can only really access the newest version to fully explore and to fully walk around in. So I think they're probably afraid of that. They don't want to cut off old content that people may like, and then you won't be able to go back to it. I'm pretty sure there is a way to get the cleansed ore map and keep the old ore map, but I feel like that would take a bit of time and a bit of work that may be too much for them. There wouldn't be much gain out of it. However, what they did say is that there could be a possibility that a future ore map, a new map, could be made that's somewhere else in the world or somewhere near the current ore area, where it could be a cleansed ore. But quite frankly, I don't think this is coming anytime soon, because this is one of these questions where it's just one person trying to ask something that they're really interested in, and developers aren't really giving a very clear response of when they're doing it, if they're already planning to do it. They're mainly just saying, oh, this is a great idea, we could possibly do something like this, but it probably won't be even on the table or won't be any progress made to it. But a nice idea. I would love to see cleansed ore. Next up, we have material storage. Now, a lot of materials in-game can still not be stored into the bank, which is strange to me, but apparently they are looking at additional material storages. The only problem is that there are some constraints with size and organization, so there's going to be a lot more planning and thinking going behind this, but be aware that they are continuously looking at this issue and trying to expand the material storage so that we can free up some space in our inventory, not have so much of it taken up by materials that should be in the bank but currently aren't. Then we also had a neat little response about masteries. Apparently, the focus of these masteries that we're getting, it seems like every new map we're getting a new mastery. And a lot of times we like to speculate about these masteries, and we come up with all these cool types of masteries. But I think now developers have actually come out and said what their goals for new masteries are. Their main focus is so they can be reused in future maps, meaning that if you played an earlier episode and you got, say, the thermal explosion or whatever it's called, the thermal mastery where it shoots you out into the air like we did in Ember Bay, if you have that, you'll have the benefit of using that mastery in a newer map. Just like now in the new Bitter Frost map, we are getting the thermal mastery in use again because they have this mastery mastery in use as well, where you can shoot yourself out from the ground into the sky. So it seems like they're trying to create masteries that are reusable in the future, and that you won't just forget about them. You won't just only have them available for one specific map. They won't be useful for one specific map only. They'll be useful throughout the game. So that's the goal for these, and I guess that's kind of how we should be looking at these masteries from now on. Interestingly enough though, does that mean that Coda's Flame will be used in the future as well? Will there be more maps in the Shiver Peaks coming soon where they'll actually use Coda's Flame? Not really sure, but that's basically what that means. They basically picked Coda's Flame for this mastery for this map, so it must mean that they're going to be reusing this mastery for future content. It would only make sense, as this comment says, the focus is to reuse it for future content. So an interesting little comment we got there about masteries and what their focus and their goal is. And the last piece of general information we got was that more hair accessory dyes will be coming. So if you're into fashion wars and you like changing all the colors, very specifically in your outfit, the accessory dyes will now be expanded soon. They are looking into getting more dyes for the accessories. Next, we're going to talk about fractals and dungeons. So first of all, the focus of fractals, what we heard from developers was that they're trying to look at the Nightmare Fractal primarily right now. The Nightmare Fractal just came out. I really enjoy it. There was lots of positive feedback from it. So they're taking feedback from that and they're trying to improve and then work on new fractals with a similar high quality bar. Now, we do know that they are doing revamps as well. So every revamp that they do, every new fractal that they create, they're going to try to basically revolve it around this high quality bar that the Nightmare Fractal has. One thing that I've noticed is the Chaos Fractal and the Nightmare Fractal are very different fractals. I particularly like the Nightmare Fractal a bit more, so maybe they will revamp that one as well, but it seems like a lot of positive feedback came from the Nightmare Fractal, so that will be probably their bar they're trying to aim for. And their main focus is fixing the Nightmare Fractal, getting it as top quality as they can, and then basically revamping all the other ones that need to be revamped to basically circulate around that same quality bar that the Nightmare Fractal is at. One thing that's also important to note is that one of the developers did say that the Raid team and the Fractal team are working a lot more closely together now than they were about a year ago or 6 months ago. So this is actually pretty evident in the current fractal, the Nightmare Fractal that we got, because I did see a lot of raid elements in that fractal. The mechanics were a bit more rigorous, you had to pay attention a bit more, and some things that we did see in raids we saw in fractals. This is probably alluding to the fact that fractals may be a bit more like raids, or they'll have similar aspects like raids have, only probably on an easier level, which I like because I enjoy raids. I like the mechanics behind raiding. It's just that it takes so long, it's so time consuming, it can be a little difficult. So having fractals have that same type of mechanic but on an easier level and on a quicker level to complete, that's good to see, because raids are fun, and if fractals can have that same level of fun, that'd be great. So I'm guessing that's why the raid team and the fractal team are working closely together, because raids have had success, and that's bringing fractal success, which I like to see. Speaking of revamps, there would have also been a revamp this patch, one of the developers said, but unfortunately one of their designers left, so they weren't able to release that. We will be getting a new revamp, most likely in the next patch. Now, note about dungeons. Dungeons have been in the background for quite a while now. There hasn't been an update to dungeons in so long now, since the last update of, I think it was the amount of gold that you get from completing a certain amount of dungeons every day, the daily dungeon completion thing. So that's the last update we got. One person did ask if they're going to be revamping dungeons, which I would love to see, because dungeons are really old content, and having them be updated would be awesome. Unfortunately though, developers did say that they won't be revamping dungeons. It's very unlikely, and it's mainly just because the code is very old. It will take a lot of work and a lot of time to fix this code, and they'd rather spend time on new content. So that's sad to hear, and for a lot of dungeon enthusiasts, it's probably an unfortunate thing to hear as well. But that's just how it's going to be. Dungeons, I guess, will continue to stay in the background, and I guess not much attention will be paid to them. But hopefully people will still do dungeons. The daily reward isn't that bad, so I do have some people that I know that do dungeons every day still, but I think this population is very small, and they are soon going to be dying, I feel like. But let me know your opinions. What do you think about the dungeon scenario? Do you think they're alive? Do you think they're dead? Do you still do dungeons? Let me know in the comment section. Would be really curious to see what you think. And the last piece of fractal news that we have is that fractals will soon be getting more raid like party mechanics. So in raids, you can basically do /GG, which will basically wipe your entire party and you can restart. In raids, you can also do a ready check. So a lot of things you can do in raids that would be useful in fractals. Apparently they're going to try to streamline some of these things to the fractals section of the game as well. /GG will be coming to the fractals area of the game. The squad ready check is probably not going to come because you have to have a squad, and squads aren't really supported for fractals. It's mainly just parties. So we'll probably not see the squad ready check, but we will see /GG, and hopefully they'll add some more elements that raids do have into fractals. And let's go ahead and talk about raids now. Not much information was given about raids, but we do have a few bits. Now, next raid is apparently almost done. It's in the final stages of testing and balancing, so perhaps we'll see the next raid come December, or probably not, because Winter's Day is coming in December. People will be caught up with that. But I imagine January or February, the next raid will come out. Perhaps it'll come sooner, but apparently they're in the last stages of testing, balancing, and it will structurally be different from the previous releases. Apparently, there will not be an event-style encounter. Rather, there's going to be 4 large bosses in the next raid. There's also going to be a mechanic involved around getting knocked off of platforms. So, interesting little sneak peek here, I guess. In the past few raid wings, we've always had an event-style encounter in these raids. So now there's not going to be any of that. We're just going to have boss after boss after boss. So for those of you who like that type of content there, I think you'll love the next raid. No information given on what type of raid it will be, where it's going to be, the name of it, or what type of bosses. This is all the information that we got. Now for legendary armor, also raid related, still no release date, still no update on how much they've gotten done. All we got was that they're working on it still, and that they're going to take as long as it needs. So I guess if you still don't have 150 legendary insights, you still have plenty of time to get those 150 so you can get your legendary armor. And the last comment that I thought was pretty significant in this AMA was that challenge motes are on the radar for raids. Now, challenge motes are basically a way to increase the difficulty, or not increase the difficulty, but more so give you a different route to complete a raid, give you a different way or different strategy or different objective to complete a specific raid boss. So they are looking at adding more of these into the game, so we have a more diversification of different achievements, higher diversification of completing raids different ways, having different objectives, and that sounds all really cool. The only problem is that a lot of these new achievements and a lot of these, challenge motes are really only worth doing once, because you only get a title, or you only get an achievement, or you only get some type of item that you only get once. So that's the only problem, that the replayability value is very low. So it'd be cool if they could obviously add some bonus to that, such as a daily bonus or a weekly bonus. And someone did suggest that in the comments section on the Reddit AMA. The only problem with that is, though, that then the community will be split up even more. Right now there is a community split between people who want to raid and people who don't want to raid. And if they were to add challenge modes that reward you on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, then that category will be split up even more. You will have people that want to raid but also want to do challenge modes, and then another group that will basically only want to raid and not do challenge modes. So replayability value on challenge modes is low, and I think it'll stay that way, but they are looking to add more challenge modes. So if you like doing those and you like having extra achievements or getting special titles, then good for you, because more of those are coming. And that's pretty much all the information that we got in the Reddit AMA. Not really much else. Those are pretty much the most important things that I got. There were a few other comments. There were some things related to the story as well, but nothing really too crazy. So if you want to read the entire AMA, I will leave a link in the description below, and you can read through all the developer comments and everyone else asking their questions as well. So if you liked the video, go and leave a like. If you enjoyed this video, if you have any comments, you want to talk about anything that we discussed today in this video, go ahead and leave a comment down below. I'll be down to answer any questions you have, talking to you guys as usual. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe as well. Lots of other content on the channel regarding Guild Wars 2. And also a quick note, today's footage in the background that you are seeing, once again, is available on Patreon. If you are a $3 donator or more, you'll get to see the background footage with full commentary in full length. And one person who's actually become a Patreon recently has also admitted that this type of content is actually really cool because they don't have Heart of Thorns and they don't have time to play it. So it's actually some pretty invaluable content. They're able to watch me play it and continuously experience the story without even having Heart of Thorns, and continuously staying up to date with the story and staying in the loop. So if you do want to check out today's background footage as well as last video's background footage where we go over Bitterfrost Frontier, we take a look at that map, I give my first impressions, opinions, we also take a look at the first few story missions, we play those together. And so if you want to take a look at all of that and have the commentary and full length video of that, go and donate $3 at least to Patreon, but you can also just donate $1 if you want to do so. Click the card on the top right corner of the screen, completely optional though. And if you want to check out my vlogging channel, the tutorials channel, the advice channel, or the music channel, click the links in the description as well as on the end screen. That's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. As always guys, this is GSmaniamsmart, and I'll be back sooner than you think. Don't go anywhere.